Hello again, welcome back everybody. It's Joey, you're watching Vegas D-Tech. I got another good one for you today. Doing a report on some extreme water waste going on here in the Las Vegas Valley. And it's going to be pretty shocking to you. I'm actually reporting to you from the actual wash. Now I know you guys are asking, Joey, why are you reporting to us from the wash for? Now guys, before I actually get into this report here, I'd like to ask you guys to do me a small favor and a kindness. If you guys like this type of reporting and it's beneficial and helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. This way I can appease the YouTube algorithm so that I can keep getting these videos out to your homepage to where you can get these updates live and fresh when I'm able to get them uploaded to you, okay? All right, guys, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this report. Now, lately, guys, it's been, getting a lot of national attention and even international attention about the water situation and the drought that's going in Lake Mead. And you know what? There's hundreds of channels out there right now actually doing reports, showing you pictures, from the water. You got people showing you all these boats coming up out of the water, barrels, now dead bodies, on and on. You got people with actual drones that are actually showing you cinematic footage of what this stuff looks like, and all of the arms and all of the bays and all of these boat docking ramps that are closed now because of the drought. And of course, you got people like myself that are actually driving around and trying to show you what all this drought stuff actually looks like from a ground point level. Now, it's not good enough just to show you guys this drought. People are asking and subscribe to me and leaving comments saying, Joey, why? Where is all this water going? I have people that are actually out near the Colorado River saying, man, the Colorado is flowing beautifully, man. It's looking full, it's looking strong. Where is all this water going? Now, I've been doing some investigating, trying to find out what resorts are actually using the most water. And in my last report, I investigated the Bellagio, but the Bellagio gets a pass because they claim that they're using nuisance groundwater to fund the fountains to keep them shooting water all day and all night, so they get a pass. Then I checked into the Wynn, and the Wynn had a similar story that they have their own pumping station that pumps groundwater up, so they're not using any water coming from Lake Mead. But interestingly enough, guys, I had to come back to one more resort, and it's one that has always been peculiar to me. And the name of that resort is Lake Las Vegas. I've done this report on this place before, but interestingly here enough, I've been getting comments from residents from Lake Las Vegas saying, Joey, please do not include us in your reports of wasted water because our community uses only reclaimed water. Reclaimed water, what is that? That's water that flows out of here, water that goes into the street ditches and gutters are supposed to collect in these areas right here and flow through this wash that goes for miles and miles and miles and supposed to end washing out into Lake Mead. Now, it was good enough for a while that I believed the nonsense that the people were telling me not to report and not to say things bad about the community out there because they're using reclaimed water. But after doing some digging, which I had to do, I find out that that's not entirely true. So guys, I work in a restaurant and I do bartending and waiting there. Now, interestingly enough, I happen to observe and talk to a couple of engineers that actually worked on this project at Lake Las Vegas back in the 90s. And they claim that although initially the water that was used to fill it up in the 90s was diverted wash water that was initially used to fill it up. Then once the lake was filled up, the water was diverted back to underground pipes. There are 2 underground pipes about as tall as me. There's 2 of these pipes underneath the lake. And the water that comes from here now goes through those pipes under the lake and comes out to the Las Vegas Wash. So while initially, yes, it is true that that water there was initially reclaimed water, it is not the case right now. The problem is right now that their private lake, let me tell you how big this thing is. This private lake for the wealthy individuals that can afford to live out at that resort holds 12 billion, right? Yeah, 12 billion cubic feet of water. All right. Now, the problem that they're having out there right now is that it's basically a pond. And what happens to ponds? They evaporate. All right. So what they need to do to maintain the level of that water is they need to fill it every so often. Now, here's what's interesting. Since the people at Lake Las Vegas claim that their water is reclaimed water, I find out that that's not true. In order to maintain the levels of that water and keep the water up, they have been purchasing water from Henderson. Now, even though the name of the place is Lake Las Vegas, they're not even in Las Vegas. They're in the city of Henderson. But then again, for the rich and wealthy, it wouldn't sound good if that place was called Lake Henderson. So they had to call it Lake Las Vegas. More catchy, more money for the developers. So the news goes out there, and the news is investigating and finding out what's going on with all this water. Where are you getting your water from? Well, it turns out they have been purchasing their water from the city of Henderson through a water company called Basic Water Incorporated. Now, the last totals here, I'm going to actually show you this little clip from the actual news that'll tell you exactly how much water they've been using.
We've learned Lake Las Vegas is currently getting no new water. That's because Lake Mead is so low, and this happened sooner than expected. The water for Lake Las Vegas was coming from Basic Water Company, also known as Basic Management Inc., through the city of Henderson. As the 8 News Now I-Team first reported in May, Basic's intake pipe gathered water at 1,050 feet. The lake level is now 1,040 feet. According to a City of Henderson spokesperson, Basic's intake ceased operations on July 1st. Lake Las Vegas was aware of this issue and put additional water in the lake before that. Now, the lake needs to be supplied with water because it evaporates. The City of Henderson reports delivering 1.3 billion gallons of water to the lake from July to June of 2021. That increased to 1.5 billion this year, again, because Lake Las Vegas put extra water in the lake to make up for the change since Lake Mead is so low.
All right, man, if that doesn't shock you right there, it sure in the heck shocked me. So all this time, the residents there are giving me comments telling me that they've been using nothing but reclaimed water, but the news reports otherwise. It shows that they have purchased in 2021 1.3 billion gallons of Lake Mead water. And then this year, they've already purchased an additional 1.5 billion gallons of Lake Mead water. So while the real water resource called Lake Mead is dying and drying up, this oasis of a fake lake is being built so that the wealthy can have property facing a lake. So this fake lake gets to have all this Lake Mead water while actual Lake Mead is dying. Does this sound legitimate and fair to you? Does it even make any sense that these guys are given permits to keep this water coming in like this? Well, one of the problems that the developers are having right now is that this company, Basic Inc. Water Company in Henderson, their water pipes can no longer provide water for this resort. And that just means that their pipe can only fetch water from 1,050 feet. And the current Lake Mead water is at 1,040. So it can't reach there no more. So they can no longer provide water to the resort. So what are they going to do now that their lake is drying up and evaporating? Well, looks like the Developers have already said no problem.
I spoke with a developer for Lake Las Vegas. He says he expects this to be totally sorted out within 2 to 3 weeks, but he insists there's no problem here. He says infrastructure has been put in place to address the issue, and he says it's just paperwork that needs to be finalized.
So what are they going to do now that their lake is drying up and evaporating? Well, looks like the developers have already said no problem. It's all just a formality. We've been able to acquire water from a different source, and it's just all paperwork, and it should be handled in 3 weeks that they're able to acquire water from a different source. Now, who is that source going to be? Pretty sure it's going to be Southern Nevada Water Authority through Las Vegas. They're going to allow them to have that water and to continue purchasing water. What a waste. You guys agree or disagree? You guys tell me. Leave your comments down below and tell me what you guys think about this water. Is it necessary for them to have this 320-acre lake with 10 miles of shoreline? You know, the community out here, the residential sector is asked to save water. By all means necessary, guys. They want you to water on certain days, don't water as much. They have all these screens popping up on TV telling you to conserve water. You can't water on Sundays, this, that, and the other. Rip out your lawn, replace it with rock. We need to conserve water. We're in a state of drought. They even have their website so efficiently set up to where you could tell on your neighbor or tell on your friends if they're actually out there watering their petunias on the wrong day. That's how efficient they are. But yet, they're going to allow these people here to continue to get permits and the developers to develop all around that Lake Las Vegas area, selling multi-million-dollar homes so that these people could have a lakefront property. And yet, 1.5 billion gallons of water getting pumped in. Sounds like an absolute waste. Hey man, look, we're in a state of drought, man. We can't be allowing water to be used this type of way. And if that lake is evaporating, then that lake is evaporating. It doesn't matter that you're wealthy. It doesn't matter. Just because you're wealthy, that means that you no longer have to abide by these conservation rules that everybody else has to abide by. I think it's a bunch of BS, man. Now, as ridiculous as that sounds, I've got reports that in California, you have housing tracts being built by developers that don't even have water rights or actual flowing water going to the properties yet, but they're building these houses in advance with all the infrastructure going to it, and people are already purchasing these houses in advance while they're being built, and there's absolutely no water that has been permitted to flow to these houses yet. Does that sound absolutely ridiculous or what? You guys tell me. Good enough that we just ride around on boats and take pictures showing the catastrophe that we're seeing on the shoreline. It's not good enough that we actually just show the shoreline drying up and dead fish everywhere. It's not good enough, man, that we just take aerial photography showing you the destruction that is going on. Yes, I know it makes for good videos, but man, the questions need to be answered, and people keep asking me, why is it always seeming like no matter how much water flows into Lake Mead, that you guys are still losing 1 foot to 2 foot of water every couple weeks? Why is that? And guys, I have to keep flipping over rocks and looking underneath it and trying to come up with these answers for you. Guys, I'm going to continue to be asking these tough questions of who is using up this water, where it's all going. Is it climate change? I mean, if you take a look at these clouds around us right now, it sure looks like a whole bunch of water wants to dump. But as you can see, the wash is dry, bone dry. You know what I mean? It just looks like the water's going to drop, but it sure the heck isn't coming down. So yeah, man, we are definitely in a drought. There's no doubt about that. And you know, now that the lake has gotten to that point that we're at 1040, we're low in the channel. And when water is low in the channel, there's less water in there. It heats up quicker and it evaporates more. So we got the evaporation index coming in. Just overall, man, overall, there's just so many pieces to this puzzle. And I believe that everybody needs to take responsibility for their part. So you guys tell me, am I crazy? Is my visor on too tight? Does it make absolutely any sense? Should a resort with a 320-acre private lake be given the rights to 1.5 billion gallons of water just to get their lake levels up to full again when the rest of the state is in a state of drought? So guys, that's all I got for you guys on this episode right here. Share your thoughts, man. Tell me what you think about this, man. Am I wrong about this private community having a 320-acre lake getting water from Lake Mead in a state of drought? Am I wrong about that? Does that sound like something that is cool, that should be allowed? Or should they also be restricted on getting water just like everybody else? Anyways, folks, if you like this information, man, please do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Share this with your friends and colleagues, man. It really helps the channel grow. It helps the algorithm find you guys so that when I make new content, I can get this guys to you just as quickly as possible. So anyways, guys, that's it. I'm Joey, you're watching Vegas D-Tech. I'll catch you guys on the very next episode. You guys be well. Thanks again. Take care.